Adjust behaviors trick with selection playback. Okay, so here, this is something that I just do because I'm used to it and I kind of discovered it once, but it's just a real quick, stupid trick. A lot of times when we're working with assets, especially if we add things like effects or behaviors, I'll use the example of the vibrating text that we talked about on the last session. It's a behavior, and the secret to this particular behavior is you go into the parameters here and you start messing around with stuff. Okay? And a lot of times that's how I figure things out, but the punchline is that to change a whole bunch of this kind of stuff and then preview it to see what happens is the key. A lot of times I don't know what's going to happen if I increase the scale to, 110%. So what do? Well, you make a change, right? And then you put the playhead at the beginning and you click the spacebar or the button here, right? Well, here's what I do. I will make a selection. And now, with this selected, in fact, I'm going to make the selection even shorter, right? And I can make a change. Let's bump this up to 107%. What does that look like? And I just hit play. Okay. Let's change this parameter. Hit play. And what the selection does is it loops the playhead. Okay, so now instead of having to go, I got to go back to the beginning, move the playhead, or even punch the previous media button here. While I'm working on something and tweaking it, I make a selection and I screw around with stuff. And for the most part, you can usually even just hit the play button. Okay, make a change, whatever you want to do. But that's how you kind of figure things out as a rule. It works for not just behaviors, but also almost anything that when you're making changes or modifications, synchronizing something, or anything like that on the timeline. Here's another example. Here I have Maggie the Wonder Dog, and I have a text box with her name, and I just put a transition on it. It just fades in the text. Really easy to do, that kind of thing. Well, if I want to see what other transitions look like, I can, of course, go to Transitions, and I can drop in and replace other transitions. And then I have to move the playhead back. Okay, or I can make my selection, make a change, and just let it go. Okay, I don't like that. Let it loop. And just a little trick. Okay, once you're done messing around, actually a frequently asked question I get is, how do you remove the selection? You just double click the playhead. Double click the playhead, snaps both of the selection handles back together.